All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ashish Rathi. I'm a director in KPMG India's Digital Strategy and Transformation practice. Been in the firm for almost 10 years now. Focused primarily on consumer market and manufacturing sectors. So really honored to be part of this session. And in a minute, I'll hand over to all our esteemed panelists for a quick introduction. But yeah, we have today from both the sides of the spectrum. So we have solution providers in packaging space, and we have the brand team members who represent the brand side, who are actually the consumers of the smart packaging material. So with that, maybe in no particular order, if we can have a very short introduction, not to steal thunder from the responses, which can come later on, but very brief about the role, about your organization, the role that you play, and any quick 2-3-liner opening thoughts about the topic.
Thank you. Morning, everyone. My name is Yachneet Pushkarna. I represent Haribol Foods. We are actually a umbrella under the ISKCON organization. Of course, the birth of Haribol was with idea of getting into sustainability, sustainable impact on the ground, and you'll hear about it. But using technology and AI, which is a big thing. Just to give you a quick background, I've been in the FMCG and pharma industry now almost for 20 years, worked in Europe, in the US, worked in M&A, and now happy to be here, and we are soon expanding into the US markets. Over to you, over to my panelists.
Thank you, Ashish ji, for the setting up the context. I am Ashish Anand, and I am technical director at the Link Smart Technologies, and my basic job profile is for the technology licensing and the IP portfolio management for the company. And I am looking forward for an fruitful discussion on this panel on the unsolved issues of the security labeling and the smart labeling in the field of the advanced track and trace. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashish. Yeah. Good morning. Good morning to all. My name is Sinwar Singh. I am a packaging head at Themis Medicare. My profile is to develop primary, secondary, and tertiary packaging material for the pharma-related products, whether it is injectables, tablets, liquids, and all. So my prime role is to develop packaging material for the products, whether it is primary, secondary, and tertiary. So move on to.
Thank you, Srinivas.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Aishwarya from ITC Limited, packaging and printing business. So basically, I'm taking care of packaging development for FMCG segments as well as consumer electronic segments, and also luxury packaging development segment. So I'm also into part of multiple projects towards sustainability and innovation. So basically at ITC packaging and printing business, so we have a team called Pack Connect, through which actually we are offering various connected packaging solutions to our customers, right from the starting of creating an incentive-based connected packaging wherein you can bring your customer to interact, your consumer to interact with the package, till the implementation into the package and manufacturing of that specific package as well.
Thank you, Aishwarya. Dilip, you want to go next?
Thanks, Ashish. Thanks, PackNext team, and very happy to be here. So myself, Dilip, I'm part of MSD. So I currently lead data analytics. So I'm kind of seasonal data scientist. So I've been working with my previous company with pharma companies like Dr. Reddy's and MSD currently. So I've been seeing the evolution of, especially if I ask the latest technology of AI, how it is evolving in pharma, especially in each of the domains. Be it manufacturing, be it packaging, be it supply chain and logistics, or drug discovery, or how AI is evolving in this kind of space. I've seen that, especially in this working closely with projects, and yeah, look forward to for the event. Thanks.
Great. So we are all set up for an exciting discussion today. Um, when the packaging material started zillion years ago, so the primary focus was around convenience and safety of the product inside, right? And from there, it has moved. So packaging material became more visually appealing. Brands used it to communicate the message, the brand message, etc. From there, with advent of all the digital technologies, it has become more smarter, more intelligent, right? And it's not only about communicating the message, it's also about the loop back, right? So material is being used for consumer engagement. It's being used for track and traceability. And a lot of other use cases, right, which I'm sure we would be covering at length today. So with that, maybe we'll start the first round of questions. And my first question is to Mr. Yachneet. So you have worked across in FMCG globally, right? And you represent a very interesting brand, Haribol. I went through your website and you communicate very well. So basically your brand is all about connecting with the youth, right? With the health conscious people who get the dairy products, right, from the farm and various other products. So with that context, like how do you see packaging material evolving and helping you in connecting with your, let's say, target segments in terms of communicating the brand value, engaging, etc.?
Thanks, Ashish. So, I'll talk as a consumer. Everybody here is a consumer. Everybody goes to a store, a retail space, or buying online. And, it's a very unique space we are in right now. At one level, we have the Gen Alpha, Gen Z, call it whatever you want, the millenniums. The other side, we have the older generation, which is catching up even faster. So today, if you see, whether you're in an aeroplane or you're sitting in a conference or in a train, everybody's looking down, right? Nobody looks up. This is the...
Well said.
Yeah, so when you start looking down all the time, you need some information to get engaged. There was this survey which was done a few years back when I was living in Europe that what drives a brand, like in a big store? Colors, appeal, primary packaging, and the third was someone who's trying to sell it, promotion. Now, it's all about less is more, but yet if you go to a store, it's a huge, traffic jam of products. Every day somebody is launching a new product. Every day somebody is saying, I'm answering this problem, problem statement. You're in consulting, every day you find eureka moments. Everybody is saying, this is going to change the world,
Correct.
Now, I was in the parallel session, very interesting. People were talking about evolution of packaging, sustainability. This is also a very big buzz. I think at the end of the day, looking at the current generation, AI role, basically transparency from the source to the product will drive the consumer to say that, okay, this is where I put my faith on. That will be one of the drivers of the next 10 years going ahead. Okay. Now, how that information is dissipated, of course, I'm sure a lot of my colleagues will also pitch in and, a couple of next questions we can talk about it.
Sure.
That I feel is going to be the next...
Perfect. So transparency being enabled through
Yes.
these smart labels
Correct.
will attract the consumers towards the brand. I think that's the core message.
That is what I see in the next, at least in the next, no, we can't even talk about decade.
Yeah.
Things have shortened up so much
Exactly.
in the next 2 years.
Perfect. So I think perfect segue to my next question to Mr. Ashish Anand. So with the smart labels becoming more smarter and carrying a lot of information, right, about the brand, so the security becomes important, right? So and there are a lot of security features that are coming up now. So from that perspective, how do you see as a security labels solution provider, how do you see the brand should select or let's say evaluate which particular security features to incorporate?
Thank you, Ashish ji. And very good question. And the industry must must need the answer of this selection criteria. Currently we see the dilemma with the packaging professionals. They keep trying multiple overt and the covert features on their packaging. One feature gets cloned, they again experiment the to the new one, and this kind of the posturing continues, and problem remains unsolved. So we are basically a security printer, and we are the largest printer from the India for the security features. We have deployed around 6 billion non-clonable impressions, mostly into the tax stamp jurisdictions. So how do we have addressed this question for the industry at large and at the global level is that we have ensured an kind of the performance liability. And what is this performance liability? If our non-clonable impressions are shown to be cloned into the public domain, and our customers can prove it, then we are financially liable for that. And this is actually changing the game. And believe me, this is the just and print-only features, and that can deliver this kind of the guarantee assurance. So this is the one criteria I would like to put before the audience, that if your vendor is not capable to underwrite and performance liability, then the credibility is under the question. Second point is that we see the brands are spending a lot of money, and that's actually a hidden cost on the legal and the ground investigations, despite spending some money on the security features. So, quite often in our research, it has come out that quite often the ground investigations are the orchestrated, right? And the brands have no option but this kind of vicious cycle continues. And why this continues? Because your own ground investigation partner, they actually orchestrate the false scans, and they will make you believe that your product is getting counterfeited in the certain geography, give me a ground assignment, and all those things. So the point I am trying to make here is that your security features should not be misusable by your own supply chain partners. And third and the last point I am coming on that, in the for the brands, consumer authentication and the engagement is very, very important. And in the every conferences in the different part of the world, we keep hearing, not only in the India, that the consumers are not scanning, but why the consumers will scan unless they are the very, very assured about the reliability of your security feature. Like the same QR code is coming original in the duplicate in the subsequent scan, original in the first scan. So this has completely demotivated your consumer, while the consumer apathy can be the one part of the problem. And the major part of the problem is the consumer excitation. And the consumer excitation cannot be achieved unless you have the fundamentally strong and the precise scanning results. So just to summarize, to answer this question, to what are the litmus tests to judge the credibility of security feature. First one is the capability to underwrite performance liability. Second one is the non-messageability by your own authorized supply chain partners. And the third one is that they should be equally effective despite the minimal consumer authentication rate. We have seen that if your scans are precise, even 0.0025% consumer scan, that will happen anywhere, is the effective in the backtrack the every part of your supply chain. You actually really don't need the 20%, 40%, and the 60%, and unless you give the royalties and all those campaigns and the marketing overheads and all. So these are the 3 pointers from my side. Thank you.
Great, sir. So this will really give good indication towards what are the security aspects that need to be kept in mind. And from a consumer confidence point of view, very important point, that when you can make the label as smart as possible, but unless the consumer scans it, right? There is no benefit that the brand will get out of it. And for enhancing consumers' confidence, consumer, as you said, should be assured that yes, while scanning it, his or her data is secure and there is no, let's say, unauthorized access would result because of this scanning. So perfect. Maybe we have, I think, talked about consumer side in the last two questions. So maybe next question to you, Mr. Dilip. So from a supply chain, from the other side, non-consumer side, supply chain, inventory, right, and logistics side. So how do you see the labels, smart labels, and the use cases on smart packaging helping in implementing the use cases on the other side, which is the supply chain side?
Thank you, Ashish.
So this is Dilip. Should I repeat?
No, it's fine. So basically, when this smart labels or when we have this, so it has actually helps the complete optimization of the logistics part. So this can include like typically, like if you mentioned one of the good use cases like the inventory or stock management. So what happens is when so basically these smart labels, so generally they are based off RFID or the QR code something. So it will actually able to track and trace what is a count overstock or less stock, or if the stock is needed, or based on the inventory you're able to manage it. So that is one of the very good use case of the smart labels. And also it will help us to get a lot of data collection. So these data collection would help us to end to end for the supply chain. For example, so be it when it's like starting of the good till it reached, so it helps us to optimize the complete flow of the networking, and which lane and everything. It helps us in the particular networking, and also it will help us to save this data, which we can do the predictive analytics. Especially this predictive analytics is important because it will able to forecast, or it able to understand which is a brand or which is a product which you are able to do it in this complete logistics. We might get it based on the demand and supply, right? It will help us to get this data enable for it. And also I think one of the other use case would be like I think the sustainability concept. So where I think every company is right now is focusing on sustainability. So it helps us to, for example, whatever the good which is going in the logistics. So we might sometimes just have that material or a product, and we need to discard it or return back to that CFA or any of the manufacturing plant. So it helps us to that way reuse or return which are not required, or optimize that kind of inventory as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So I think you brought up a very important point around data. So it all starts with data. So the smart labels will allow the brands to collect data, and there are multiple use cases in supply chain, as you mentioned, track and traceability, and then optimization of logistics, etc., etc. So very well said, and a good segue for my next question to Mr. Srinivas. So you represent a very regulated sector, right? Life sciences sector as part of Themis Medicare. So how do you see in your regulated sector transparency, which Yachneet also brought out? How do you see smart packaging enabling transparency and confidence among consumers, obviously, but among regulators and various other stakeholder groups?
Thanks, Ashish, for giving a lovely question. Actually, this is the real demand in currently pharma sector, because these QR code are more helpful, not only like supply chain and all. It will help in transparency, like real-time information. Mm-hmm. If a patient or any customer are using any products, they can easily got all the information related to manufacturing site, because earlier days there was a space constant on the packaging, on the labeling side. So all the like manufacturing sites and address are not able to mention. So only like license and neutral code will be sufficient. But customer or patient sides. They are not able to know what is the manufacturing sites are there. Then different information we can easily get at a real time. We can scan the code and got all the information related to company name, product, then his efficacy, then anything else. Then it will build a customer trust. It will build a customer trust because by knowing the things what is in the product, customer are more reliable for the products. Then again, it will create a supply chain visibility, traceability, visibility like you can use RFID, then QR code and all. By this, you can easily monitor from your production house to the warehouse and all. You got a real-time access where how the products are moving. So this type of transparency are coming against. You can also do some anti-counterfeit features by QR code and all. Regarding regulatory compliance in pharma company, I think the most documentation required in pharma company because the product is directly goes to some of the critical part of the patients and all. So we need to have reboost the documentation and all. In earlier days, it will be tough to use all the paperworks and all. Now these QR codes and RFIDs are so small and give a lot of information that is required for regulatory compliance and all. Also in like US and Europe markets, they have mandated some regulation like serialization and track and trace are there. So by using this QR code, 2D matrix, RFID, you can do serialization and also these smart packaging are doing a lot of regulatory compliance by utilizing just a small space and all. Earlier days, it was very tough and very tedious job to do all the things. So you can also like traceability, like you can also recalls. There are many cases are there that pharma company has to recall his product due to some efficacy and all. So these QR codes and this RFID can easily do the things. So these are very useful for like transparency, then regulatory compliance, also traceability. These are very useful nowadays.
Great examples and very from a diverse, let's say from a patient journey point of view you brought out, because we would be talking a lot about the end consumer of FMCG sector, but in the life sciences and healthcare sector, there are also a lot of use cases as you mentioned. So moving on to the next question to Ms. Aishwarya. You represent ITC, right, which is the consumer-focused brand, right? Everybody will recall ITC. So how do you see smart packaging playing a role in personalized consumer engagement, right? Consumer engagement is one part, but personalization, do you see some use cases around personalization being enabled by the smart packaging and digital technologies around that?
Yeah, so basically one of the major advantage of smart packaging is of course consumer engagement and providing consumers a very customized and personalized experience. So across the globe, lots of brands are actually trying to connect with their consumers to these connected packaging. So basically connected packaging is the link which enables the consumer to interact with your package or your label. So basically there are lots of ways in order to several categorizations for providing this customization and personalization for consumer. So one could be through a simple serialized QR code, or it can also be a variable two-dimensional codes or a QR code or a variable image. So through which like brands can run a campaign so that, you know, enabling the consumer to scan those codes and they can get an incentive out of it, which could be a cashback incentive, or it could also be a discount in their next purchase, or some sort of like coupons which they can redeem in the later stage. So this is one means of like general way of customizing our smart packages. So in order to go more personalized, myself from packaging and printing business, we provide the scratch off labels and scratch off inks. So wherein like we can have an hidden code, customized code underneath these scratch off labels and scratch off inks, so that a consumer can scratch that specific top layer, and then they get to know what code it is. Then they can scan it through our mobile phone, and they can enjoy the offers that is being provided by the brands. And this is one way. Another way, like in festive seasons and all, wherein like a lot of gift packs are being like sold in the market across the industries, and people are also like purchasing a lot of gift packs during the festive season. So in these cases, by means of a QR code, some sort of like code can be provided, wherein the digitalized code can be provided, wherein the buyer can actually scan the code, and it takes them to a personalized area wherein they can add a recorded message that could be audio recording, or it could be a video recording, and they can save it. So the gifter, whomever receives that gift pack, again by scanning the QR code, they can see what the person who had gifted them had left a message for them. So it means make the consumer feel more personalized and privileged for buying that specific package. And also like since all sort of like connected packaging scans happens through our mobile phones, so we have GPS tracker in our mobile phones. So depending upon the location where the scan happens, the brand can provide a location specific incentive. Say if it is in Kolkata, the scan is happening in Kolkata during a Durga Puja season or something. Like maybe the brand can provide basin laddu based coupons or some sweet sort of like coupons. So similarly, like where in which city the scan is happening, we can provide a localized, depending upon the local people ka interest, we can actually provide more personalized incentives, which the people will be like more interested to look into. So there are also this blooming technology which is like AR, and everyone across the world is like more towards like AR, and the one way which enables AR to get printed on our package or on our label is through this connected packaging. So there are like different formats of AR, like obviously everyone would be knowing. Like if in case the CEO wants to get deliver a personalized message or a personalized wishes during some festive seasons, like they can have a video AR incorporated in their package, and they can have a more customized and personalized message left for the consumer. And in case like I'm selling a personal care product, so in that case, obviously like we can have a filter based AR, wherein like you wanted to try out the foundation, how it is looking on your face, you can just scan and see how it works out. And also like if my target customer is going to be kids, then obviously gaming is a very good AR in order to attract the customer and enable the like kids to recall the brand again and again. So through this means like they can also build customer loyalty.
Perfect. I think great insights from a brand like ITC. So I'll just summarize. It's about marketing, it's about digital loyalty, it's about localization, it's about digital gifting. And yeah, so slowly we are moving towards that metrics kind of a situation. You talked about a lot of innovative use cases. So with that, maybe the second round of questions, and to start with Mr. Yachneet. So we spoke a lot about all the good things, right? All the consumer-facing things, supply chain and other things. But there is one problem that FMCG and related sectors have had is counterfeiting, right? So do you see any application or any use case evolving from smart packaging which can help in counterfeiting?
I think, Ashish, you've touched on one topic which I think pretty much everyone sitting here and in the audience have faced sometime or the other. The biggest brands of the world, from the Gucci's and the Christian Dior's to the Amuls, do see 40 to 50% of their products in the market which are counterfeit. Now, AI has helped us bring in a very different dimension in this game. Technology. Of course, this also brings in another aspect, which I'm sure everybody knows as, technology is there. A Christian Dior bag, which is sold for, and a lot of people must have, looked into it as well, about $5,000 is made for $50. That's the actual cost of production of that product. I'll give you our example. We run a food and beverage company. Our idea of starting this was to create a sustainable impact on the ground, use technology, and get an assurance for the customer that what he or she is using has traceability. So if you to look up at the dairy side, this year we won the World Economic Forum Award in Davos under a section called Faith in Action. So we actually used AI ML where if you buy a milk, right? Milk is an aggregation industry. Everybody knows that. There are thousands of brands. Everybody buys it from a aggregator, puts his label and sells it. End of story,
Correct. Yeah.
Like my colleague said here from ITC, you can add a label, give a nice message, scratch, give discounts. What we didn't do anything very fancy. We just took a solution which was used for almost 2 decades in the meat industry, and we reversed engineered it. Rather than a slaughterhouse checking when the animal needs to go for slaughter, we took the health of the animal, the procurement of the milk, the farm, the cow, and we gave it to the consumer. So you as a consumer sitting in your kitchen can scan our barcode and check which farm the milk is coming from. What is the health of the cow? Now what this brings in? Transparency. Of course, to counterfeit it, you need an extraordinary mind, right? I mean, of course, everybody can do it. Nowadays, people are very intelligent. Hackers have more intelligence than other people. So, but then it is a barrier, right? Tomorrow, if let's say I'm a small brand, tomorrow if I become, let's say, sizable in the industry, somebody will have to really put efforts to counterfeit and create that transparency by using AI to prove that this particular cow in this farm's health is this and this is the milk coming and bought by Haribo or ABC or any brand. I think this AI enablement, which also will result in a lot of regulations getting... so I was in the, just few months back at the World Food Congress in Delhi. This was this question I put it forward to our Commerce Minister. There are a lot of regulations which the West has put. This is the best way to bring off trade. You would know, you work for one of the biggest consulting groups. AI can be that barrier which can break that regulation. For example, organic certification is the most rampantly counterfeit product. You can buy an organic certificate anyway. I can get you 10, right? Yeah. But if you use an AI and you embed it in the farms and you get direct farm to consumer technology evidence of the soil condition, the water, the raw material, where is the counterfeit going to come? That organic certificate is null and void. Because any which ways you're getting live data. Of course, you can say within it you have a lot of gaps, which of course one of my friends said, you can use RFPs, you can use, still technology is there to create a foolproof mechanism. So I feel that counterfeiting, the only way to, I worked in pharma, I was in Sanofi in Paris. That was one of the biggest problems we had, counterfeiting. Because again, pharma is also made by generic companies, outsourced. A lot of them push out their own products in a cheaper market under the same formulations, even though they are regulated. So there are a lot of gaps in the system. AI and technology can at least control it if we go back to the source. Source to consumer clarity will bring in this counterfeiting to a certain degree. This is what my 2 cents is.
Perfect. I think very great insight that it doesn't need to be always let's say, godlike that, okay, it will stop everything, right? So it can be minimizing also. And as you rightly said, that it would create a very significant barrier for the unauthorized access or hackers and other nuisance creators that to to create counterfeit of such technologically advanced, let's say, transparency that has been created by smart packaging, use of AI, etc., it will create a significant barrier. So very nicely put. And with that, maybe the next question. So we have been talking a lot about making the packaging smarter, use of AI, etc. But there is a cost associated with it, right? And similarly, the security features, because you'll always, others will talk about the uses, and you will keep on bringing us, keeping us honest that yes, there is a security aspect also around it. So first, we are making the packaging smarter, bringing in a lot of innovation and a lot of data, a lot of transparency, etc. Then you are putting a security layer, multi-layered security layer on top of it. But from a brand point of view or from an ROI point of view, right? Because we can't keep on increasing the cost of the packaging material. So how do you see the balance between how much secure we want to make the label versus the usability, which is the, let's say, the advanced features, which will make the label more smarter, versus the cost. So this is a three lever balance. How do you see that happening, specifically with security at the middle or at the center of all of these three levers?
Yeah, thank you. So, how do I look at this problem statement? That there are the four foundational principles for any kind of security feature design. One is the security, second is the sustainability, third is the usability, and the fourth is the cost effectiveness. And into my experience, it is very, very difficult to have an multi-layer approach and the balance all of this simultaneously. So the traditional wisdom is that create an multi-layer stack of the different security feature. Some are overt, some are covert, some are B2B, some are the B2C, because industry thought every layer is the independently variable. So let us create the dog behind the cat and the cat behind the rat. But finally, in the year 2024, where we see industry is completely confused, and I will please give me liberty to say even and most experienced packaging professionals are currently confused what to deploy and what not to deploy. And we see that the cost of packaging going up because they are not able to judge what is working, what is not working. I can give you some of the example. We have an use case, very, very valid use case, where the QR codes were there. And then we made the QR codes as an non-clonable. But somebody in the team wanted to have some kind of decorative and aesthetic features. They added the holograms. And there the actual story started. Earlier, we have an authentication rate around 2.5% to 2.7%, which is very, very decent. Actually, it's the good authentication rate. But moment they put the hologram, means the one overt feature was the hologram, second was the non-clonable QR code. Both are the overts. So the moment they put the hologram with the QR code, authentication rate dropped to the 0.5% because most of the customers, they just saw the hologram and then they escaped the digital authentication and the traceability, trackability, everything got compromised. So this is the one point. But I will go back to the question, prudence of the industry, that why the first of all multi-layer approach was how it was evolved. So mostly if I go back into the last 20-year history, it is mostly evolved from the digital world, where in the digital world you have the SSL encryption for the transport security, to authenticate the sender and the receiver, firewall for the access controls, antivirus for the content protections. But when we come to the physical world, I have only one problem to solve. That's the counterfeiting, and for that we have so many B2B features: sparsity ink, Gurios, then the holograms, then the QR code, then the 3D printing, and this list goes on. And the cost of the packaging also, going on. So just to cut long story short, I see it's very, very difficult that you can have a multi-layer security as well, and as well as the balance this thing. There is no magic thing that we can highlight on this forum. But the couple of the guidelines, if you are planning and if you have to do a multi-layer, plan only one overt features. Don't plan more than the multiple overt features. And the rest of the things are your business business decision, commercial decision, that how many covert features you can do. But the overt feature actually decides your traceability part, your market interfacing and all. Be very, very careful. And just to give you an example, we are into the tax stamp. Earlier, the tax stamp has around 7 or 8 features, and it was being done into the multiple passes. So much of energy consumption, so much of carbon footprint, so much of the sustainability impact, right? We are successfully means quite successfully able to transform at least 6 countries' tax stamp to the print only. And with the print only approach, it happens in the single pass. It is highly sustainable. And as I said into my previous round, we can even offer the performance liability. So that's the biggest new paradigm for the industry, right? So yeah, that's all.
Perfect. I think great insight on that, on the point that we should not overdo things, right? Just to make it more advanced, more secured, and there is a cannibalization, as you give an example of one digital feature versus other. That hologram thing kind of cannibalized the QR code. People didn't scan the QR code, and the core objective of getting the data was not achieved, right? So we need to be careful in terms of how many features we want to bring in the packaging material, considering the usability and considering the cost also. So get with that, maybe next question to Mr. Dilip. You represent the AI/ML data analytics team, right? So we have all spoken about a lot of interesting use cases from a brand perspective, from a solution provider perspective. So you have the responsibility of making these use cases come to life, right? Because you are the team which conceptualize along with the business teams, and then get these going in terms of implementation, rollout, POCs, etc. So, and for that you need ML/AI talent, right? So, from a brand perspective, right? So you are not a you are not a product company. Yeah. From a tech point of view, you are a life sciences healthcare company, right? So how difficult or easy is it to attract that talent which is required for developing these use cases, and and is there a significant need to involve, let's say, other solution providers, tech solution providers, or is it like that you have your in-house team which has sufficient talent and skill set available with you?
Thanks. I think it's a very good question. So first of all, I think now this whole concept of I think the center of excellence, I think most of the companies actually following the same structure. So basically, so it's a kind of setup like generally even my previous organization also been through. So what is actually most important is like do we have the sufficient infrastructure? So when I mean infrastructure, especially when you do the use cases. So whenever we have the unmet needs from business or supporting team or whatever. So we try to understand what is the use cases which you have and what is the scope of the use case. So let's say given the data, because we worked on ML cases, so do we have the sufficient data, the data challenges. So if we have the data, where the data is provided, so is it in the any data layers or data lake, or do we have that? So let's say to start that use case, do we have that sufficient infrastructure, cloud, be it AWS kind of schema? So do we have that? So we check on that perspective. And also it's important, so when we mean, it's a kind of, complete end-to-end ML project, not done by one person. So it's a group of team, like, so data engineer, data architect. We also have the business analyst and data scientist, and we also have the ML engineer and ML ops who try to deploy. So it's a kind of end-to-end circle. And we also have the PM or product manager who actually constantly helps us on the timelines and also it's together done by all of these people. So each of us have their own expertise and talent. At the same time, we should also have the organization infrastructure also. Because some of the modeling or data modeling runs with a lot of computation. So it requires more RAM and all this extra, etc. So I would tell, so there can be always available solution from the third-party vendors or the already some solutions team. So in that case, let's say we are based on business priority, we need to have that solution quicker. So definitely we would opt that kind of solution readily available, because ultimately solving the business priorities are more important rather than starting from scratch. So that way it helps us organization also to enable that way. Even my previous company, so what we do, so rather than starting the project from taking 9 months of time, let's say it's already available with the third party, and that comes with some cost, and that cost is okay to, because having a talent of even the in-house team is also comes with the billing. So let's say that project timeline taking 9 months and already you're getting with half budget, you're getting with vendor. I think that's also good solution, because you already have the in-house data scientists and team. They will able to drive it and they'll able to know that product well. So I think that's more important. And also having the basic infra is always good in the company, so that be it a POC or project, it will help us to kick off any data analytics use cases. So
I think very well put that from a brand point of view, it's better to be nimble, right, in terms of your in-house team, because these use cases, these evolve so fast, right, and you can't have all the skill sets in-house, at least till the time things stabilize and become regular enterprise products, right, from a technology point of view.
Yeah, and one point I want to mention. So in this whole scenario, I think the data privacy and data is very important. So there can be very sensitive data and everywhere. So so sometimes we might not involve other. So in-house is always good, because that data is within the company. So that's where it's always ensuring you're within that compliance and data every time.
And it's always good to leverage what good has already been done, right? And that's where it's good to hear as part of KPMG. Anyways, we provide all of these solutions. So maybe next question to you, Mr. Srinivas. So you are into packaging material development, right? So you would be innovating a lot around bringing in new types of packaging materials, etc. So from a perspective of a global standard, right? Organizations always try to benchmark themselves to the global standards, right? Europe, US, etc. And then there are local regulatory requirements as well. So how do you see this balance when you go for any new product development or new packaging material development?
Yeah. Now, the smart packaging, yeah, you have said rightly, Ashish. The smart packaging has made packaging development life very easy, and you can do more creative things. Like in earlier days, we have to print a leaflet having multi-language text are there. So it will be tough for a packaging development to design the packaging with a compact packaging. Nowadays, you can do it with just 8x8 QR code. So you can do it 8-9 languages by placing just 8x8 QR code. So These are the creative things which are coming. Again, smart packaging is not all about like QR code, RFID and all. There are labels which can tell you that the product inside the pack is suitable to use, because as I earlier said, that pharmaceutical products are very critical. So like vaccine and all, they require 2 to 8 degree temperature throughout the supply chain.
Yeah.
So whether the temperature is maintained or not, how a patient or a doctor will know. So there are labels are coming in the market which tells you all the temperature details, or it indicates the color. It will change the color of the label. So it will gives like a hint that the product is suitable or not. So smart packaging is coming with a lot of creativity and all. It also save the environment also, smart packaging, because earlier days there are leaflets are there. Now people are removing with QR code and all. So again, there are less paper, less tree cut and all. So smart packaging is all about make life easier of packaging development. And these are the benefits like sustainable packaging. Then you can get real-time temperature monitors are there. So then again, multi-language text, you can like, you have asked me about the local language are required. So you can do it on a QR code and all. Yeah, these are the things.
Okay, great. So right balance between, it's not only about, let's say, consumer engagement. It can be also about communicating that it's a, so the parameters that the, let's say in your case, patients would be looking to get comfort on, that the vaccine is at the right temperature, right expiry date, etc. So very well put. And maybe, Ms. Aishwarya, to you. So as part of ITC, or for that matter, any brand team, right? So how do you see the success of investments that go into packaging material, right? We spoke a lot about the use cases, making it smarter, secured, and getting all the right data, making sense of that data. But do you, like, have brands started tracking the ROI or the success of investments that go into the packaging material? Or is it like, so far, it's all about first establish the use cases, we'll talk about the ROI later?
Okay, so basically, obviously, like any brand, be it at any industry or any companies, like before they invest into something, first thing that, like all the top managements would be calculating is the return of investment. Like, we are putting in XXX. First, we need to take that XXX, and in additionally, we need to generate some profit, or there has to be some sort of like improvement which should be attached to that specific project. Only then, like any sort of project will be taken up by a company. So coming on to measure, so obviously like everyone will be, any sort of like project that is being implemented, people will be tracking it. It will be tracked across the company. So how, in case of like smart labels, as of like how to measure the success of that smart labels. So like smart labels are used, and smart labels or smart packaging are used in two different categories. Like one could be the business facing case, other one could be customer facing end. So basically the business facing ones are like more which are used within the internal businesses for our warehousing, or for our supply chain management, inventory controls, and tracking, forecasting the stockout situations, and planning in priority. So basically when it comes to a business facing smart packaging or a smart label, so it's like out of like implementing it, are you able to improve, reduce your supply chain cost? Are you able to predict the stockout scenarios? Are you able to manage your inventory in a better way? And out of obviously like managing the inventories and reducing the supply chain, streamlining your supply chain, we will be able to increase our operational efficiency, out of which we will be generating cost and we will be reducing wastage. So when it comes to customer-facing smart labels, basically it is like upfront, like number of scans that is happening. So out of the increasing the number of scans, like you will be able to generate like more customer database from which you will be able to study your customer behavior and curate and maybe a loyalty program for your customer, loyalty campaign for customer, out of which you will be able to increase your sale values and increase your customer loyalty as well.
Okay, great. I think you have summarized the whole gist of it. And we are sitting between people's lunch and people. So maybe we'll now, I know we had lot more to talk about, but maybe just last words from, we can go around and just maybe one wish list that, let's say, unconstrained, right? What do you, like, what is there in your wish list? Very short, maybe one sentence, two sentences in terms of digital enabling, smart packaging, anything you wish and no constraint.
I would want zero packaging, naked, and you take a scan and you get all the information. Like he rightly said, nothing, plain black, naked. You take your phone, it'll tell you where it was made, how it was made, which language you want based on your phone. At the end of the day, the product should speak for itself and not spend tons of dollars on packaging, colors, dyes, so on and so forth.
Just one liner. Just keep the 4 foundational principles in your mind. Once again, security, sustainability, cost effectiveness, and the usability. That's all from me.
My wish list is by using a smart packaging, zero counterfeit.
So basically, like smart packaging is a means of connecting with a customer. So it is more of like making a package more interactive, speak for itself, more intelligent to sense for itself, and obviously like protect the brand authenticity as well.
Yeah, so my takeaway is like, so I would feel the AI and machine learning. So this tech should be leveraged as much as possible in smart packaging, and we should contribute as much to the environment in the sustainability form. So that will help us better green for organizations. Yeah.
Perfect. I was hoping for you to bring out AI because anyways, nowadays people will change their names to have the prefix as AI. It's all about AI now. So maybe thank you all. It was really great to hear your insights, and we covered, I think, almost all the pieces of the spectrum. But anything we could not cover, any thoughts from the audience, any question, any reflections, maybe we should be quick, but 2-3 minutes, anything from the audience. Yeah, or we can go and look at packaging of the food outside. But no, thanks for being such a lovely audience, and thank you all for your time. Back to you.